guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the, what is it? The 15th of September, 2019. We have a great show for you today.
Ask the white farmers to teach other people their great techniques.
Right.
And if the government wants to be semi-socialist and to set up programs to help the, black people to, to farm as well, instead of destroy. This is what communism does. And this is what the socialist AOC here in our country want to do. They can only look and see what other people have done and take it and disperse it. They do not come up with things in their own mind.
Right.
And then they destroy. They are like a virus that goes in and they start to eat your good cells. That's what communism does. That's what they're doing right now in South Africa. Is South Africa better today under your kill the boar rule? South Africa is not better. It's not safer. It's not more wealthy. It's not more prosperous, okay? And rather than say white people came and created this great economy, just say people came. Okay? People came and they created a great economy in South Africa. And what I love about South Africa is that they lived in harmony with the land in a way that we do not here in America.
Sure.
They were not these wasteful people. They lived in harmony. They had a communion. They had a spiritual communion with the land. Now, because of violence, there was a lot of racial tension. But what you see here with this video is that the racial tension was not universal. Okay? And what you need is more Jesus.
Right.
Okay? What you definitely
always need more Jesus.
What you need is more Jesus. And you can decide what kind of country and nation that you want to have, but by and large,
Stuart the Brit says, a lot of white farmers from Zimbabwe were given land in countries surrounding. They knew the value of these hardworking people and the economic power they are.
Yeah. So let's go on to something that I think was quite funny.
Is this another commercial break?
Kind of. So worth a look, I believe, sent me this video with Piers Morgan. I think I have the video up, or maybe it's I might have to find it. But the British Broadcasting Company, the BBC, tells primary school children that there are over 100 genders as part of its Teach video series, which has some concerned parents and observers up in arms. Did he send it to you too? Because I'm not sure if I have it up here.
I will look, but this already has me like shaking my head. The fact that we are,
there are just so many gender identities, declares the head teacher in response to the child's question. We know that we have got male and female, but there are over 100, if not more, gender identities now.
Oh my gosh.
So
now, like, gender has evolved. So we started out with 2, and now it's kind of, you know what it is? It's like when you go from the wolf to all these different breeds of dogs. So that's how gender has evolved. So we started out with just 2, but now over time we have evolved. I get it. I totally get it. I'm really glad that they explained that to me because I was really confused for a while. So now I understand why we have so many genders.
I got it right here. Okay.
You got the video?
Yeah.
You are transgender. I transitioned from male to female, but I'd never referred to myself as transgender, and if I did, I think my friends would go ballistic. My opinion is there are 2 genders, male and female. Sometimes you're not lucky enough to be born into the right one, so you transition into the one that you suit the most.
Which seems to me eminently sensible, and I have complete respect for people that do that. It's not an easy process, physically, psychologically, emotionally, or any of those things. I salute you for your common sense. Now, let's bring you into this equation. You think it is right.
How do you identify?
I'm a man. That's right. So,
and gender, what are you?
I'm a cisgendered man.
What does cis mean?
So that means if you were born a woman, and therefore you still identify as a woman, so you're a cisgendered woman, I would say.
And that's because of my physical
That's because
femaleness.
you identify with how you were
What
born
am I?
originally. Well, I assume you're a cisgendered
I'm not a
man,
cis anything,
if
mate.
if I may assume.
I'm not a cis anything.
Well,
I'm just a man.
Well, no, but you're a cisgendered man.
No, I'm not a cisgendered anything.
But hang on.
What does cis mean?
Well, that means that you were born the way that you identify
No,
now.
I'm just born a man.
But someone who transitions
Why are
to
you
be a
insisting
man-
on calling me something I'm not?
Well, you can refer to yourself as just a man if you like,
I
but
think most people identify as male or female, man or woman.
that's right. The vast majority of people. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other people who identify differently.
There are
aren't
100
lots of other
different
identities.
genders on this BBC list, apparently, right? One of them is two-spirit person, polygender, pangender, neutroids, intergender.
I have to
gender
say,
non-conforming.
Do you know what they mean?
I have
Nicole?
no idea what they mean, and I'm part.
Right. Well,
I'm
luckily we have the
supposedly
world
part of
expert here.
community.
What is any of this?
Look, I can't. Don't ask me to list off.
What's a
all
two-spirit
100.
person?
I think that's someone who identifies with their native background into their gender.
Do you not think
Right.
this is just like a vibe that somebody's having? Like when you tick a list, male or female, doing your passport or something, is this not just, this is just how they are? This is just a bit of a vibe.
Do you know what aporogender is?
No.
They're very
You
sorry
actually-
about
even
it.
though you support what the BBC is doing. This, by the way, this is the public
Is that what it
broadcaster.
is?
No, I don't know. Just
Hang on. The public broadcaster paid for by us with the license fee is now instructing children. There are 100 genders they can identify as. You have come to defend it, and you don't know what half of these are.
But hang on, Piers. Ignorance isn't a defence.
You're the ignorant one, and you're the one defending it.
Well, Piers, you're the one that doesn't know what it is as well, of course.
I'm about to tell you.
Do you know what?
Aporogender is a fairly new word stemming from the Greek apor, meaning separate. Aporogender is an umbrella term meaning a gender separate from male, female, and anything in between, while still having a very strong and specific gendered feeling. That latter part is key, then distinguishing it from agender.
Is this how
which is
they're
somebody
explaining it to
who are-
children?
By the way,
What the heck does
can
that
you
mean?
explain that to me? What does that mean?
Well, that means that someone identifies differently to you, and that's what is at the
No,
heart
no,
of
no.
it.
Can you explain
But
what
that's just a
aporogender
personality,
is,
isn't
which is
it?
one of the 100 genders that kids now have to be? What
So
is
I can
it?
repeat back what he said, but I don't understand it.
I
either.
get it. I totally get it. What they're saying is, I think that in their mind, they are a gender that is completely separate from male or female, or there aren't any other ones.
Or
but
anything
a
in
made-up
between.
gender. I think they are saying that they identify as a gender that is not male or female or anything in between of it. It's like an alien gender.
Yeah.
Okay, it's something that is, it's literally like an alien. Like, we believe that aliens exist. We don't, but society, some people in society believe that aliens exist, right?
Sure.
But we've never seen an alien. We have no evidence of an alien. It's completely alien
But
to
is
us
that-
and foreign. And so this person is saying, I feel a gender that no one has ever felt before. And that's what that means.
Well, hang on. You know, it's not it's not university challenge.
I've just told you what it is.
No, but this is for children, Benjamin.
Right.
This is what my problem with it.
When I was a
think
child.
it is university level.
Yeah.
For us to get our heads around 100 different gender identities, and I think Nicole makes a really good point. It actually is about personality,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's just their thing. If I was sat in, I mean, I spent my whole childhood watching The Animals of Farthing Wood. You know, you're impressionable. You know, you've got to be careful.
But you didn't identify.
No, but I thought I was a squirrel. I thought I was going to grow up and be surrounded in a tree, surrounded by nuts. You know,
Benjamin, what is neutroids?
But, oh, come on. Are we going to go through all 100?
Do you know any of them?
I need
Well, I
to
know some
know
of them,
what.
yeah. But
my
look, here's my
nationality
You
point.
come, no offence, you
No,
come
no,
on
no.
national television to defend the BBC telling kids there are 100 genders. I'm now reading out a number of these 100 genders. A, you've never heard of them. B, you've no idea what they are. But C, you want to encourage the
Hang on.
BBC to instruct our kids that they should be one of these genders.
But that isn't the point. The fact is...
that is the point.
The fact is that people identify in different ways. And when you get bogged down by the idea that children might know that they're different, that they might be helped to understand why they're different, that the teachers teaching them might be prepared with the...
So I think that Nicole actually hit on the nail on the head by saying, isn't this just like a preference or a personality?
Yeah.
And the twisting of it to make it a gender thing
Yeah.
is what's really crazy and what's messing with kids. Like, you're a male or a female,
Right.
and then you identify with your native roots. Why does that have to be a gender thing?
Yeah.
And everybody, and here's what I'm going to tell you what it's all about. We live in a society where parents leave and they both work, and children
Wanna feel
aren't
special.
feeling loved and like they're special. So when you go to school, There's one school that we covered that like 95% of the kids, or I don't know, like 75% of the kids are all turning to be transgender.
Right.
Because it makes you special and it makes you different.
Well, imagine walking into a room and every kid has a middle name but you.
Sure.
Okay. And the teacher says, okay, what is your first name? What's your middle name? What's your last name? And then you don't have a middle name and then you feel left out. And so like many kids in that situation have literally fabricated a middle name to just say, all right, this is my middle name, but it's not your middle name. It actually makes you unique that you don't have one. Okay. And so these kids are just searching for something that makes them not only special, but also fit in. They want to fit in with everybody else. So if the teacher is saying you have to have one of these genders, okay, even if the child identifies as a male that wants to be a male, okay, the fact that they have to be put into that box of fitting into that 100 is wrong.
Well,
it's child abuse.
What makes it it is child abuse, is that this is the BBC. And in this video, which
this is government propaganda.
To see if I can find the video, the head teacher, in response to the child's question, how many genders there are, we know that we have got male and female, but there are over 100, if not more, gender identities now. The video for school children is aged 9 to 12, and it's part of a new 9 new BBC Teach films.
Wow.
Produced as support material for the personal, social, and health education curriculum in UK schools. And then you have this columnist, Celia Walden, who wrote a scathing review in the Telegraph here. What are the different gender identities? Asked a little boy. And then that's a really, really exciting question. Well, no, it's not. The answer is still less exciting, which is perhaps why, rather than give a boy a bald, biological, and distinctly boring fact too, the video cuts to a relationships and sex education teacher hopped up with her own gaping mindedness. You know, there are so many gender identities. She enthuses. We know we've got male and female, but there are over 100, if not more, gender identities now. Even by today's Emperor's New Clothes gender identity diversity narrative, 100 is pushing it.
And that's the thing. Okay, so pause your reading your article there, because this is what
Facebook currently lists 71 complex and hilariously repetitive options for those who feel manacled by the oh-so reductive male and female.
Okay, so I guess on some planet, I could go so far as to say, all right, we've got male, we've got female, we've got people who are born male that want to be a female, and people that are born female that identify as a male. Okay, so there we have 4 different genders, all right? And so that's fine. And then you could, I feel like, if you really wanted to, you could take it so far as you are a male that identifies as a female that is still attracted to, instead of being a homosexual, you are attracted to females. So you are
Caitlyn Jenner.
All right, exactly. So I guess I could take it kind of that far, but to go to like 100 is absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But even then we can't take it that far, because then your gender is not your identification.
They have taken
You are biologically a man or a woman, okay? Now, in my opinion, and it is right, even if you change your body outer parts to look like something else, okay, that doesn't change how you were born. The only gray water here are hermaphrodites. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like all of these people that want to be identified as some sort of weird gender, it's like they're just sad they weren't born a hermaphrodite. I'm like, are you serious? Like,
so they're not playing the video then, so you can't find it on YouTube.
And a lot of homosexuals are actually incredulous at this as well. Okay,
sure.
We've had people that watch Resistance chicks that are gay, and they're like, listen, this is ridiculous. I'm a man, I'm a homosexual. That's it. It's that simple.
But your gender doesn't change.
Yeah.
Your preferences in life may change.
Yeah.
You may like chocolate cake. You may like, vanilla cake. You may like no cake. You may be a vegan. You may do this. But your gender itself doesn't change. So, and despite 4 years at medical school where you'd hope the basics had been covered, your local GP will only recognize 6 genders. male, female, gender neutral, non-binary, gender fluid, and gender queer. But children, insists the BBC's relationships and sex education teacher Kate Daniels in the film, might well find these too limiting and think to themselves, I don't really want to be anything in particular. I'm just going to be me. Chart the gender diversity madness back to its origins, and you'll find that I am just going to be me. Ironically, a concept young, agenda-free children naturally embrace is at the root of it all. And beyond my horror at the propagation of misinformation and the upholding of this noxious nonsense by a corporation whose journalistic duty is to deal not in fads but in facts, is the fear that we'll make this new generation of children as self-obsessed as the supposed grown-ups, willingly warping their minds. Self-expression may have been prized since ancient Egyptians first began drawing hieroglyphics, but not until the 1960s did it start becoming fetished in the way it is today, when expressing yourself no longer means appreciating individuality and producing something of wider cultural value to be enjoyed by others, a work of art, say, that might enrich the world around you, but folding in on yourself and behaving in an unashamedly selfish way. So like teenagers with far more tools of self-expression at their disposal than old hair dye, piercings, and tattoos that, generations before used to make do with, people will play around with their identities and pronouns well into adulthood, going into work dressed as Alex one day and Alexa the next because they've been told that they can. Never mind that the client has no idea who they'll be meeting from one day to the next. There used to be a psychological term.
You literally have multiple personalities.
It's called multiple personalities. And that taking your personal whimsies into the workplace is an hypothesis of unprofessionalism. You're just expressing yourself, aren't you? Along with all the myriad incarnations of that wonderful bottomless you. Likewise, the health and nutritional idiosyncrasies we all now like to shout from the rooftops. I can't eat that, I'm vegan, keto, 5-2ing, are pure self-expression and therefore hallowed. So whereas I was brought up to leave anything I couldn't or wouldn't eat discreetly on the side of the plate, we must now all be made to know and care about other people's fumbles. As women, we're encouraged to express ourselves by locating our period pride and brandishing tampons in the office before talking loud and proud about the menopause once we start going through that. And perhaps I'd find all this self-expression a little more exciting in exactly the way that relationships and sex education teacher found the idea of 100+ genders if we were focused on something less superficial and narcissistic. And of course, it's all a lie, because what the 9 to 12-year-old children in those BBC videos weren't told was that they would only be free to express themselves in one way, the right way. So that if one of the girls later chose to express herself in a more traditional manner, say by wearing a skirt, secondary schools like Laos, now infamous primary school, which this term it made gender-neutral trousers compulsory for new and existing students, that would not be allowed. In fact, she would be turned away from school, all of which is likely to leave with a generation of lost, confused, and angry young adults asking a question we will find in a very difficult answer. How did you let this happen? Which is true. I have an article up that said, I don't know if I closed it out or not, but they, the UK, there's a school that is making it so that there's girls are banned from wearing skirts at school to protect their modesty. And then there was another one to make gender neutral. So all girls have to wear trousers now. And so in the whole gender and the expressionism, and to not make, I guess, transgender boys feel, they don't want transgender boys to wear skirts. So all the girls now have to wear shorts.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yeah. So there is that. And this author was so hilariously, though, as they put it, it's all narcissistic, and it all happens to do with, in my opinion, the rise of the internet. Well, the rise of the internet has led to a lot of great information being shared back and forth, but it's also led to this narcissistic, selfie society. Michelle and I come and bring you shows because we think too much, we have too many words, okay? And we have to get them out. Okay, and we hope that we're adding a broader cultural thing. We don't come to you talking about us or ourselves. We come to you because we want to share knowledge. And if that's what this was about, teaching children to learn something, right, and express themselves, like, This is what used to happen. What are you interested in? Go find out as much as you can and share that with somebody else.
Exactly.
If you want to be a zookeeper and you want to be Steve Irwin, oh crikey, and you want to learn about catching crocodiles, and then you want to go tell everybody about it. I learned about crocodiles, and here's what I learned, and I want to share it. That is expressing yourself. And we need children who, I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be a fireman, or I want to be the first one to go to the moon. Haha. Did we ever go to the moon? That was a joke for the day. Ba-boom ching. You know, you want to be different, then do something good for society. You know, I want to come up with a new way to make a medical device that doesn't require plastic and doesn't require fossil fuels and fuels. If you want to combat climate change, and you would encourage children not to be afraid, but to think and go out into the environment and say, environment, planet, what would you like us to do today?
Right. Well, and I'll tell you why they do this. Because if you can get a subject, a human being, to focus solely on themselves, you can do whatever you want to them and their society without their knowledge and without their noticing. If you can get somebody focused just totally on
the narcissism,
where most people are not predisposed to narcissism.
Right.
What happens is, as soon as you open up a Facebook account and somebody likes one of your photos or comments on one of your posts, an endorphin arises in your brain, and all of a sudden it feeds it, and then you become a narcissist, whereas previously you were not.
Right.
But it's a tactic that could come straight out of 1984 to get people to be so self-focused.
Right.
Focus on yourself. It's all about you. It's all about you. And it goes back to Satanism, where you can look at the t-shirts that Jay-Z wears and so on and so forth that says, you know,
I am that will. I am the whole, the law.
I am God. I am
Crowley.
The devil doesn't have anything new. And so when he comes at this generation with this puff smoke magic or whatever, it's just look at yourself.
It's the 90s generation.
You are the God. You everything is about you.
It's the 90s generation on steroids. I mean, the 90s generation went down that road with Green Day and just everything started to feel so inward and angry.
Whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah,
and
whatever makes you happy. I'm living my best life. Well, I have to tell you, these people who look like they're living their best lives, if you see somebody who looks like they're living their best life, inwardly, they're probably not. Right. Because if you take that much time to make your life look perfect, it's not perfect. Right. Okay? Because if you see people who are flawed, who show up and somebody takes a picture of them while they're eating a hamburger and they're looking frumpy and they got makeup on, or you see something like that, they're probably living a better life. Because if you're trying, and the Instagram people, they work so hard to be so perfect, and it eats them away when it's not perfect. It hurts them when it's not perfect. That's not living your best life. Okay, so I would encourage you to only follow people who do not try and look perfect. You follow the people who you can see in their imperfections, because they're not going to go commit suicide the next day because their hair was out of place.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a very dangerous thing that we even do on coming to you, because as soon as you start to get famous, then people will rip you to shreds. Yeah. They will come after you. They will destroy you, and you have to have, like, Katie Hopkins, I believe, has this narcissistic defense mechanism, but her defense mechanism is to go after other people. Donald Trump's defense mechanism is to go after other people. We don't do that, so we don't have a defense mechanism, so that we can only go to God for our defense mechanism. Exactly. Okay. Although I appreciate it when Donald Trump does. Which we've been really blessed, because by and large, most of the time, people support what we're doing. Well, but here's the thing: when we were going viral, it was crazy. Right. And if we were going viral and we were talking about Muslims, then we would get rape threats and death threats and crazy things that were like off the wall. Right. And so, you know, it is what it is.
And it's my joy to honor you in all I do. To honor you. So I'm so glad that you guys are here with us. I'm so glad that you are part of our Resistance Chicks family.
And our pre-rehearsal.
Yeah.
Live.
That too. I'm glad that you support us. I want you to like, comment, and subscribe to our videos. And when I say comment, I really mean it. The more comments you leave on our videos after the fact, just because you left something in the chat, leave it in the comment section. It really, really does help. Share our videos, get the message out there. Patriot Gallery works really hard.
She's been cutting up the videos.
Cutting up the videos so you guys can have shorter videos.
Trying to get around that censorship algorithm.
Exactly. So thanks to Patriot Gallery. We will be back on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our weekly roundup, and hopefully before that. You never know. We've got a studio. Yes, hopefully we will have a Bible study this week. So, John, I think we're in 21. I'm really excited about that. I think we are. I probably just said that wrong, but I think we are. So you guys are a blessing. Thank you to all of our moderators who were here today and everybody that was in the chat contributing to a wonderful show. It was a great show. Good job, Leah.
Thank you. Good job, Michelle.
Thank you. Remember, guys, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. We love you. God loves you.
One more time.
Okay. Just kidding. We're going again.
On our way out.
Okay.
Amazing love, how can it be
That you, my king, would die for me? Amazing love, I know it's true. And it's my joy to honor you in all I do, to honor you. All right, you guys. God bless.
I was cold.